Today on First Cup, we're talking about the new episode of Martial Arts Radio. We're talking about the new TV show that I'm watching. I'm answering questions and comments around this Alec Baldwin movie thing and how it relates to martial arts and a bunch more. So stick around. We roll in 15. Got my coffee. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Thursday. It's October 28th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. I even put some cinnamon in it today. You ever put cinnamon in coffee? It's amazing. A little bit of salt, a little bit of cinnamon. You're good to go. Good morning, Andrew. Andrew says the good thing about insomnia, he's been awake since 4 a.m., is that he gets to be here live. Well, I will reluctantly acknowledge that as a good thing. Always good to see and talk to you, my friend. Well, Wednesday's in the books. Wednesday was a pretty good day. I've got a number of projects that I'm working on, both for whistlekick and for clients right now, where I've got to be thoughtful. I've got to do some kind of creative thinking, putting together some plans. This one client, I'm writing out an email sequence for a holiday promotion, and I got to go back and forth to it. Good morning, Jenny. I got to go back to it this morning because I just petered out. Does that happen to you guys? It happens to me pretty much every day. I hit a wall, and depending on what work I'm doing, that wall may hit at 2 or 3 or 5, and I usually go until I hit that wall because I know working on stuff that uses a type of energy I don't have anymore, it's just going to produce bad results, and I don't do that to my clients. So, yeah, went to the gym for a little bit, cleaned up around the house, put something in the fermentation crock. Good morning, Stacy. I've still got plenty of kimchi, but one of the things I harvested a lot of and could have harvested so much more were Jerusalem artichokes, sunchokes. I don't know if you were all familiar with those, but it's a relative of the sunflower, and they grow a tuber, like a root potato-y thing. Here's the problem. They create gastric distress for most people, myself included. Good morning, Tommy. And I said, I got to do something with these. And I've read that when people ferment them, they're not as bad in that way. So shredding them up with a whole bunch of turnips, because that was the other root crop. I planted a ton of carrots and beets and radishes. Got a lot of turnips. Turnips did really well for, actually, no, I'm sorry. They're daikon radishes. They're not the little purple ones. They're daikon radishes, which is why a lot of people will plant daikon radish in fields because it has no problem. Oh, here's a bunch of rocky soil. I'll charge right through that. So I've got a bunch of those. So I shredded them up and threw them in the crock, and I'm going to have kind of a coleslaw, fermented coleslaw when I'm done. Is it going to taste good? No idea. Maybe. We'll find out. What else did I do? Watched some TV, made some food. If you have Netflix, here are 2 conditions. You have Netflix and you enjoy the show Archer, you may want to check out the show Inside Job. It's an animated show, definitely not for kids. It is worse than Archer in that way. I mean, they're dropping F-bombs all over the place. It's full of innuendo, but it's an entertaining show. You'll recognize some voices in there most likely, especially if you're a fan of Archer. But I've been watching that, and it's a decent show. I hope it continues. There have been some other shows like this that have tried to capture that same kind of magic in a bottle. Brickleberry was one. It was okay. Yeah, I like animated adult shows. Andrew says, I love Archer. Yeah, it's a great show. I was actually talking to a friend yesterday, and he mentioned that He's been thinking about I think he said he was going to drop Netflix for Hulu because he misses Archer. And I think Archer's on both, but I may be wrong. But Archer's a phenomenal show. I remember when I learned about it, I think I plowed through 6 seasons in like a week because it was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Well, it is Thursday, and Thursday means a new episode of Martial Arts Radio. Are you excited? This is where if we had a soundboard, I would cue the applause and make you think there was an audience in my living room. There is not. There has never been an audience in my living room, unless you count the cat, but she's not here anymore. I keep thinking I hear her, though. I thought I heard her yesterday. That was interesting. All right, where's YouTube? Let's load up YouTube. Is this thing up? I don't even remember what Andrew. My new phone comes tomorrow. This thing is, it's time. It's definitely time. Okay. Library. Your videos. Oh, yeah. Today is Q&A number 8. Another Q&A episode that Andrew and I put together sitting right over there. And there was still not an audience. But these Q&A episodes, these have been a lot of fun. And I like them because they're different. They're dramatically different. Stacy and Tommy are typing applause into the chat. You guys are adorable. Thank you. But what we're finding is that it's really the one show where we can bring in some different elements. Now, if you watch or listen to today's episode, Q&A 8, you will hear some of those elements. We're bringing in some different stuff. We're going to start rewarding people for leaving reviews. We're talking about other elements of what we do in the business. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Jenny. Jenny says it's the neither Q&A. You know, we all have a role to play. Matt Nather's role is to ask ridiculous questions of me whenever I need questions of any kind. But fortunately, for most of us, the questions he asks are always incredibly thought-provoking and usually tend towards the absurd side of the spectrum. And I'm quite happy to answer those. Starting with next episode's Q&A, we will be recording those and streaming live. So if you're around when we do it, you'll be able to join in. We're going to take all the stuff that we learned when Gabe and I worked on whistlekick Live. I don't know if you remember that. We did that for 1.5 years. We learned a lot about how to run a live show. And so we're going to bring some of what we learned into these infrequent live shows. Oh. Jenny says, and he is so amazingly talented at that role. And no, he is not typing right now. And Andrew says, the ridiculous question in the episode was not from Matt. Oh. Take that banner down. I like doing the Q&As because I feel like I just get to show up and hang out. Andrew has to do all the work on those. Andrew does a lot of work. So with the First Cup venue change, things are shifting all around. Ended up, we got people like spending the night at my house afterwards, and we got hotel rooms that are getting moved around, and I think everybody's good to go. We got to fix the schedule. Andrew, that's on my calendar for tomorrow, by the way, to revise the schedule. And there's just a ton happening, and we're just going to hammer down and give you more and more and more and more and more. Andrew convinced a local barbecue joint that wasn't going to be open to open. He's like, hey, we got a bunch of people coming. We'll send some of them your way. Open up. And they said, okay. And yet, folks, this is the man who didn't want the sales position. I think he could do it. Why is coffee so good? It's so good. What else is going on? I had a call on, I think it was Tuesday afternoon, And I'm sitting here on the couch talking, in case you didn't know what it looks like to hold a phone. And I look out the window and I saw a couple deer. At first I thought it was just one, but it was a mom and a young, and they were all browned up. They had their dark winter coat on and they looked good. I grabbed the binoculars. I even dropped my phone at one point. I'm on this professional call and I got binoculars to my face and I dropped my phone. Person keeps talking, like doesn't even skip a beat. Neither of us even acknowledge the fact that I obviously dropped my phone, and I'm just watching these deer with my binoculars. It was great. Tommy says, thinking of renting a van and sleeping over too. Got to make it happen. Hey, right on, man. There should be an announcement soon on an official tournament. I'm used to saying tournament hotel, an official event hotel. It doesn't look like it's going to save you money. If you want to book right now because you're nervous, totally fine. Anywhere in Keene pretty much is fine. You can, if you go through Expedia or whatever, you can usually save some money off the list price. If you're staying elsewhere, we will collect this information on the other side. I do want to know how many hotel rooms were reserved in the area because of us, because that's a number we can go back to the hotel with next year. And I'm going to be really honest. Free training day costs us money, right? Like it costs money, not a ton of money, but all in, it's probably going to be $500 to $1,000. It's on the lower end of that. $500. There are arrangements when you stay at hotels for events where they give you a discount and the promoter gets a kickback. If we get 20 rooms and they throw us, $15 a piece, we've almost broken even now, right? So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to line up for next year. My goal on free training day has never been that we make money. It's been, how do we lose as little as possible? Now, if we end up, we end up with a corporate sponsor next year, Whistlekick's free training day brought to you by, Progressive, and they want to throw me a couple grand, sweet, let's do it. We can take that money and offset other things that cost money, right? Like the show. So I'm just being honest. So if you do stay this year, what is most important is just knowing that you stay, and we'll collect that information after. All right. So there is no discount for the hotel in question. Okay, well, go to Expedia because there's a discount there. I will likely book through Expedia then. Tommy is saying something to Andrew with an emoji that's not showing up here for me, so I'm not going to read that. Yeah, so switching gears. What's going on with me today? I'm going to do some IT work for a client. Got lunch with a friend / colleague. This person works in marketing. And I enjoy his company. Like that's one. He's a friend. I like him, like his family. Used to date his ex-wife. That's actually how we met. I'm dead serious. It's Vermont. Everybody knows everybody else's business. So, I dated his ex-wife and his best friend worked for me at the same time. The emoji is a little ninja. Good morning, Daniel. So Tommy says, Andrew, with our talent pool, we can do a ninja and talk to them. There you go. I just hope everybody's around. Whether or not we stay over, I think I'm using the royal we, whether or not we stay over Friday night and Saturday night, we'll definitely stay over Friday night. We may stay over Saturday night because there's some cool stuff shaping up. Who knows? We'll figure it out. Andrew, we'll figure that out. But one of the goals is I meet with this friend and have for several years now, we're trying to find ways we can collaborate. He works in radio, and yeah, radio is still a thing. And they're doing some interesting stuff with social media and web, and there's very much an opportunity there for me, but he hasn't been able to make that happen. for me. He wants to bring me in, or so he says. I assume he does, because I have no reason to think he's lying. But they've got kind of a canned thing, and it's fine. It's fine. That'll be cool. And then what's going on this afternoon? Hanging out with a new friend this evening. Looking forward to that. And then, yeah, just doing some work this afternoon. So it'll be a good day. Oh, yeah, all that work I didn't do yesterday afternoon because my brain hit the wall. I'll be doing that this morning. All right. Now, you guys left me some stuff to talk about. All right. So let's see. Where do I want to go first with this? I got some stuff from Frank. Great stuff from Frank. And an interesting topical thing from Tommy. All right. I'm going to read the quotes from Frank first, and then we will wrap up with what Tommy dropped, because it's actually a really good conversation. I think it's important for martial artists. I'm going to take it and twist it a little bit from what he left. On this day in 1974, Academy Award-winning actor Joaquin Phoenix was born. Many know him from films like Joker, Walk the Line, and Gladiator. But what you may not know is that he also has a black belt in karate. Andrew, put him on the list. I don't walk around like I'm a movie star because I don't think of myself as a movie star. People usually don't even notice me. It's interesting that someone who is such a good actor, and if you have not seen Joker, I think everyone needs to see Joker, but you need to make sure you're in a good emotional place before you do. Joker messed me up for a while. And I won't tell you why, but my reaction to it was similar to the reaction that most of my friends had. It's a wonderful movie. I don't know that I will ever watch it again. It was powerful. And his ability to bring that role to life in a way that makes me question if it's better than Heath Ledger's Joker is something I never thought I would say. Absolutely exceptional portrayal. Daniel agrees. Joker is a powerful movie. And Tommy, no worries, my friend. That came through. As a nation, this is the moment to start seriously investing our time, energy, and resources into proven methods of reducing violence, both within our nation as well as internationally. The cost of violence to our culture and our children is simply not sustainable. Most of what I could say in response to this has to do with things that are political, or at least considered political. But what will I say? Martial arts training. Is it the only solution? Nope. Does it help? Yep. Sure does. There's nothing about martial arts training that isn't going to advance, assuming we're talking about good training. And remember, there are always exceptions. If someone's a complete psychopath, they're going to be a complete psychopath. They could be a psychopath with rank. There are psychopaths with rank, definitely sociopaths with rank. But I think the overall advancement of society, I think we get that from training. And then it's examples like this where you know that Frank knows me well. It takes nothing away from a human to be kind to an animal. I think you can say a lot about a person and their ability to give and receive love based on their interactions with an animal. You get a lot of people that say, oh, cats. There's a stereotype. I was a guy with a cat. Guys with cats, there's something wrong with them. The way you love, engage with a cat is different than the way you love and engage with a dog. A dog will accept anything. You can beat a dog and it'll still be happy to see you. They are unconditional love. Cats are not unconditional love. Cats have plenty of conditions, and those conditions change. And maybe I'm being sexist with this statement, but in my observation, in my statistical pool to draw from, I have more female friends with cats than I do male friends with cats. I'll let you connect those two dots however you want, rather than hitting them over the head. But I think there's definitely something to be said there. And then you can look at other animals, rabbits, etc., and they all love differently. You have to meet them where they're at. They're not going to meet you where you're at very often. And Andrew, I think you mean Penguin. Andrew says, better than Heath Ledger Joker would be quite a thing, but is he better than Danny DeVito Joker? I think you mean Penguin, right? Danny DeVito was the absolute perfect Penguin in, what was that? Actually, I take that back. He was an amazing Penguin in which version of Batman was that? That was Michael Keaton Batman. You know who played a better Penguin was, I don't remember the actor's name, but it was the first few seasons. It got a little weird, but the first few seasons of the show Gotham, the first probably 2 seasons, I mean, the whole show is good, but the first couple seasons played out a very understated, character-driven Gotham, and it was amazing. The character who played Penguin was wonderful. Jada Pinkett is in it. The boy that they cast to play Bruce, it was an awesome show. It faded a bit because it became more action and story driven, but they did a great job setting up the characters. Tommy says, I enjoyed Gotham. And Dennis says, you know this guy is a cat person. I sure do. Dennis says, the way a person treats an animal, waiter, waitress, speaks volumes about their character. Sure does. We need a service where people can just call up and yell at people. It's like tech support or customer service, but it's just about yelling. Here's my hack. Some of you have maybe figured this out. Here's my hack. If I need something from a customer service person, I call up and I'm nice to them. And I don't blame them. And I let them know, I'm upset. I don't yell, I don't raise my voice, but I let them know, I'm upset. And I know it's not your fault. You didn't pack the box. You weren't on the assembly line. You didn't make the thing. You weren't the person I talked to last time that lied to me. So I let them know, hey, I'm not blaming you, but I am upset. And I'd love your help in solving the problem. What can we do? And that last part's pretty important. And whether you're talking about customer service, tech support, something like that, or really any kind of conflict, instead of trying to force your agenda onto them, here's where it becomes martial arts. Let them present a solution, and then you can negotiate from that. In self-defense, do you commit to a certain plan of defense before a strike is thrown? No. You might have some options. You might revisit them. Okay, it looks like he leads with his left leg, probably going to do this next. If he attacks, I've got to watch that shoulder. I've got to watch that hip, something like that. But you don't do until they've done. Bring that same attitude in. And more often than not, I get everything I want out of customer service. All right, switching gears. So Tommy says, just watch the police update on the movie set shooting. So many questions. Why was a warm, live firearm with live rounds on a movie set? I thought since the Brandon Lee shooting with a prop round, things changed. The prop weapons I've seen over the years couldn't even chamber a live round and fire. Mostly made of rubber, too. Thoughts? Sad. So very sad. So not sure why this hits me so hard. My guess is that it hits you hard for the same reason that it bothers me and so many others, is that it was so obviously avoidable. This is not traditional gun violence. This is not a casual accident. This is a deference of responsibility of at least two people, probably more. So my first question is, and I'm going to talk about this specific very quickly, and then talk about how it applies to martial arts and training, especially if you have a school very, after. There's no reason for a functional firearm to be on a set. If we're talking about the type of movie where the budget is enough to get Alec Baldwin, the budget is enough to get a fake gun. Oh, but we really wanted a period specific. You can get somebody to make a fake gun that looks like that gun. These people exist. They would probably be happy to make the, I don't know, couple $1,000s it might cost to make one from scratch. Like, this is not a big deal. 2, why is there live ammunition on the set? In the event that you have to use a live fire, like an actual firearm, why are you using live ammunition? There are plenty of options. Oh, but dry firing is a bad thing for, okay, there's like half a dozen solutions to that. Blanks are an option, but it was rehearsal. There's no reason to do that. Oh, well, we wanted to practice with an accurate response around, how the gun sounds. Okay. Fire it into the ground. And then lastly, all of the people responsible for handling the weapon and the ammunition should have been checking it, because what's the first rule every firearm owner knows, or should? When you hand a firearm to someone else, you do what? You make sure it's not loaded. You show them it's not loaded. What's the first rule that a firearm owner understands when you take a firearm? If the other person didn't do their rule 1, you do yours. If I hand you a revolver, I'm pretty sure it was a revolver, right? And the cylinder is locked in, and they didn't open it and show me it was unloaded, I'm going to hit the release and I'm going to open the cylinder and I'm going to look, oh, there's a round in here. Let's not shoot it at that person. Because what is the general rule number 1 of firearm usage? Never point the gun at anything you don't want dead. Dennis pretty much echoes what I'm saying. Always assume it's loaded. Never point at another person. Golden rules. Daniel says, airsoft guns look almost exactly like real ones. Yes, they do. And there are types of airsoft guns that are designed to look like real guns. There's plenty of reason, or there's no reason that they couldn't have found a substitute. So I think, long-winded answer, Tommy, I think the reason why this bothers you, the reason it bothers me, is it was so easily avoidable. Now, how does this relate to martial arts? Well, we're talking about a sequence of people who did not take responsibility for their roles in a safety situation, and someone got hurt. They died. Let's call it hurt. People rarely die in a martial arts class. What are those rule 1s of working with someone? You have to be willing to assess force level, violence level in any training sequence. You have to be willing to say, you're going too hard. I have to be willing to say, am I going too hard? The instructor watching has to be willing to ask the question or make the statement, this is too much, bring it down. There are times and places for pushing you past your comfort zone. Absolutely. Not going to argue that. But that's not most of the time. Most of the time, if you've spent much time training, most of the time when someone gets hurt, it's because somebody didn't want to speak up and cause a scene. Oh, yeah, we were going a little too hard, and I didn't, they outrank me. I didn't want to say anything. When I teach, when I had my own school, if I ever have my own school again, I don't care. The level of force, the speed, etc., that you go at, except in rare exceptions, like I said, is based on whatever the person that wants it slower or lighter is comfortable with. If you and I are partnered up, you want to go faster, I don't, we don't. If we're partnered up, I want to hit harder, you don't, we don't. It takes both people. Double opt-in. Stacy says, I went to a shooting range twice. Both times, those rules, look at the weapon and don't point at anything you don't want dead, were thoroughly stressed. Absolutely. Let's pour some more coffee. So, how do you take that lesson that oh, well, the lower rank didn't want to speak up? It's culture, it's school culture, and it's something that has to be beaten into the high ranks. And here's the deal. There are a few things that I will say are 100% need to be this way. This falls into that very short category. If you are an instructor or a school owner and you have students that at higher ranks, whatever you call that, black belt and a little bit below, whatever you call high rank, and they are unable to moderate their speed, their force, based on who they are working with. One, they probably should not have earned a black belt by my definition. Maybe yours is different, that's fine. Two, they should not, if they cannot, either you need to fix it or they need to not be working with people who can't handle that. Because there is no excuse in a martial arts school. There are plenty of opportunities for people to get hurt doing things right. We don't need to introduce opportunities for things to injure people because they're doing them carelessly. Okay. Now, there's all kinds of stuff going on with this news story. I'm not going to get into that. It's, people speculating about this, that, and the other. Meh, whatever. It's not the point. I'll leave you with this story. It's a better illustration of what I suspect happened on set. People don't like to speak up. People don't like to be the odd person out. They don't like to cause a scene. You've probably seen this in a school where, oh, well, we saw that thing was going on, but, I figured that person had it. I figured that person was going to do it. That person was going to do it. Most of you know I used to have an IT company. We had a store. And one of the services we provided was in-store repair. I had two employees. One was new. One had been with me for a while. Somebody came to pick up their computer. The job was done. The customer said, I'll bring a check next week. The long-standing employee mentally deferred to the new employee because that person was going to have a position of authority over them. The new employee deferred to the long-standing employee because that person knows all of the policies. So in the end, the customer picked up the computer and walked out the door and did not pay. Now, we did ultimately get the check, but I tore the two of them a new one because it was absolutely ridiculous. I think it was that kind of a situation. They were probably pressed for time. We're talking about a movie set with famous people. Everyone doesn't act right around famous people. It created some tension, some anxiety. People didn't slow down and do what they needed to do, and someone died. So let that be a lesson. Don't be afraid to move slow. There's a saying that comes out of a lot of movement disciplines. I don't know where it started. I heard it in Olympic weightlifting. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Move slow and get it right the first time. Tommy says, I agree. Why are they a high rank then? Daniel says, don't mention people picking up computers, bane of my life. I'll bring a check next week. No worries. You can have your computer next week. And that's usually what we would have said. And we'll end with this. Andrew says, so much becomes better when done slowly. If you know anything about me, my teaching and training methods, you know I wholeheartedly agree. I hope you had a good time with this. This was a fun episode. Why? Because we had a great topic submitted by a viewer. So I hope you will consider doing that for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Feel free to leave some jokes. I'm sure Frank's going to. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you back here tomorrow, bright and early, 6:30. So take care, everyone. I appreciate y'all. Peace.